Welcome to Why Build in UEFN. We are really excited today to answer all of your questions at the end. So if you do have questions, there's a microphone at the center of the room. Write down your questions as they come up and then line up the microphone and we'll answer them for you. If we miss your question or you're too afraid to ask it out loud, that's okay too. Come find us after. We'll be around the convention center for the next hour or so we're happy to continue to answer questions then. My name is Heather Storm. I'm the manager of creator evangelism at Epic Games. It's my team's job to enable and inspire everyone, that means all of you, to create your games with UEFN. Joining me today is Josh.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Grant. I'm a creator evangelist for UEFN. I've been using the tools since they came out, so very happy to go over some of the more technical stuff during the talk.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Speaking of what we're going to talk about, we're going to cover everything that you need to determine that your next game is going to be made with UEFN. We're going to convince you. I'll take you through what it means to launch on Fortnite and the opportunity and value you get out of that outcome. Josh will take us through the power of Unreal and what it means to actually build with UEFN. And then we'll talk about the power of innovating, publishing, learning, and then publishing your game again. Finally, I'll take us home with a journey of a discussion around the future of the product, especially around the next year or so. So with UEFN, you gain incredible access to a community of players, as well as industry-leading technologies to make those games. Unreal Editor for Fortnite, or as we'll continue to say, UEFN, is the way to develop and publish your content into Fortnite. If you like to create games that are filled with jump scares, or clever level design, or maybe really engaging, deep storylines, you can build your vision with this tool set. Something that a lot of people still ask me, and I was even asked yesterday, is, isn't Fortnite just Battle Royale? And while that was true way back in 2017, that's not true today. Over the last 8 years, we've seen an amazing evolution of technology, both in tools that people can use to make games, as well as games available within the Fortnite ecosystem. In fact, we've also seen an insurgence of games that aren't even combat focused. In 2025, we've seen meaningful growth in what we call our variety category. This means games that are social roleplay or death runs or horror games, games where the main mechanic isn't shooting. We have seen that this content has made up more than 30% of time by players who are playing creator-made games. That's pretty big. All right, so this is my favorite slide to ask you about all of you, because it's an interesting look at the past and who's been here for how long. So if you are a creator who joined us from the creative days between 2018 and 2023, I'd love for you to raise your hands. Thank you. Keep them up. If you joined after we released UEFN and you're currently publishing, raise your hand, join that group. Amazing. So for everyone not raising your hand, take a quick moment, look at all these wonderful hands raised, and see all of these people as potential peers. And for those of you who have your hands raised, look around at the room and how many people don't. Look at all of these potential new people that you can collaborate with. All right, you can put your hands down. I know that was a long time. But I'm so excited that you're all here and that you have so many different resources that you can pull from. Whether you're an indie developer, an experienced dev working on a solo project, or somebody who's been in the industry for years and years, there's something that each of you can teach each other. So, in the years since UEFN has launched back in 2023, we've seen an increase in variability and dynamics in the games that you can play. But what does that mean? Let's watch a quick trailer to show you exactly what kind of games you can make today.
Greetings. It's alright. Can't stop now. Walk back down. It's alright. Stand
Yeah. There's quite a few developers in this room that were in that trailer, so that's pretty cool. So that's really neat. There's a lot that you can create, but let's talk about the brass tacks. What is the value of creating your game with Fortnite? Well, as many of you are aware, no matter what role you play, whether you're the social media manager trying to post on socials, or you're trying to acquire a new client to come onto your business, or onboard a player, there's a lot of noise that we all have to deal with every single day. And it's your job as amazing game developers and designers to break through that and reach players where they are. Well, with UEFN, you get access to not only great technologies, but you can reach into the players that already exist in our player base. A huge other benefit, you aren't starting from scratch. All of your assets that you've made with other tools, the majority of them can be imported into UEFN. You also have all of your skill set, especially if you're coming from Unreal, where all of those things are going to just work in UEFN. Of course, bringing over existing knowledge is great, but one of my most favorite parts of UEFN is that you can actually publish your game in weeks. Not months, not years, weeks. And once you've developed your game in that short amount of time, it only takes a few hours to go through our publishing pipeline, which includes a few steps Josh will walk us through later. That's a huge improvement upon what's normally getting tons of reviews by each client that you're trying to publish to. Instead, you publish once to Fortnite, and it's available everywhere Fortnite is available. Finally, you get rewarded. As long as you're focusing on creating engaging and exciting gameplay that has players coming back time and time again, then monetization takes care of itself. So, did you know that in 2024, 5.2 billion hours were played in creator-made games? A huge part of the story of UGC is about how creators are able to access players where and when they are, and engage them in that deeply compelling story. Have you ever asked someone to join you in a creator-made mode, maybe a special map or a specific experience? Well, so has over 70% of our player base. They're often playing a mix of epic and creator-made content. And what does that mean? Well, all those hours played resulted in $352 million paid out to creators in 2024. Creating in Fortnite is about more than making a game for a small audience. You have the access and ability to create a worldwide, recognizable title. The Game Awards has been partnering with Fortnite to make a Fortnite category for the last 2 years. And the winner last year was Murder Mystery, an awesome game made by the people over at Good Gamers. Murder Mystery is a role-based elimination game. Unless you're the murderer, of course, then it's all about elimination. It has so much recognition that my friend Josh here told me a story about his friends and how they were off to play Murder Mystery. They didn't mean some other game. They meant this title in Fortnite. Over the last few years, we've also wanted to expand the potential for developers to make their dream games with their favorite IP franchises. Of course, Fortnite is already known as a titan in IP immersion through Battle Royale and our cosmetic systems. But we've really wanted to bring that to all of you so that you can make your dream games. So last year, we did that. We've brought in the tools that you can make your own IP, or you can leverage existing IP such as Fall Guys, Rocket Racing, Lego, and TMNT. Developers like yourselves are already having a lot of fun making games that they wish were already existed in those universes, and players are loving playing them. Now to talk a little bit about how to build your games, Josh is going to walk us through the technology.
Thanks, Heather. We use that terminology, build an Unreal game, very purposefully. Because building your game in Fortnite doesn't mean that it has to look like Fortnite. We make a big emphasis of this. In UEFN, you're working with a lot of the same tech that supports the high fidelity or highly customized UE games. The look, the feel, the gameplay of your Fortnite island is entirely up to you. So I picked out some examples here of just some of the incredible stuff that our creators are building right now in UEFN. So UEFN is a development tool that at its core is going to be a hybrid of Fortnite and Unreal Engine 5. And so what this means is that you'll have access to a lot of Fortnite's items, weapons, thousands of game-ready Fortnite assets, tons of devices to author gameplay right out of the box. But your workflow is going to end up looking a lot like it does in UE, and you'll have access to a ton of familiar tools that you'll probably see on the slide here. Some of the favorites, of course, being Control Rig, which was masterfully used here in Future Trash's Boom Tycoon. Sequencer, to make AAA quality cinematics at runtime, like none other than the Fracture Reshaped experience by Genesis Studios. This one's really impressive. You could watch this and you'd think, oh, that's probably one of Fortnite's cinematics, one of our many events. But no, that's made by a creator in UEFN using Sequencer right now. And then, of course, Niagara to create powerful VFX that juice your environment. Thank you, Tom Jank, here for getting me this effect from Pizza Shop Tycoon. And while all these UE tools are incredible, maybe the most exciting thing about UEFN is not what's in UE, but our own brand new coding language called Verse. And Verse is designed not just to be the future of Fortnite, but eventually broader game development. It's proven great already for writing real-time, open-world, multiplayer games. It has a large emphasis on gameplay itself. And so it uses the best of functional programming, object-oriented programming, and imperative programming, and combines those all into a language that our creators have really come to love. And you can combine these Verse functions with our many devices to really push the boundaries of what might have once been possible. So let's take a quick look at how our creators are using Verse today. Here's a clip from the team over at Gauntlet. They're the creators of The Kraken, which is a massively popular game built with UEFN. It's centered around this boss fight here, and you can see some of the Verse language that they've used to write this boss fight, program different attacks that the Kraken's doing. I highly recommend you check the game out. It's a lot more than just fighting this Kraken. They've built out an entire RPG with quest lines and dungeons. It's really incredible. And here's another one, Fortnite Legend by the team at Love is Real. They've built out a custom upgrade system, custom inventory, full like MMORPG style stats and items, gear, bosses, dungeons, matchmaking even, all with Verse. They did it themselves. It's unbelievable. Now, another incredible tool that's exclusive to UEFN is our Unreal Revision Control, or I'm going to call it URC. And URC acts like any source control system in that you can check out assets and check in changes when working collaboratively with your team, right? But all of this takes place right in the editor, right in the bottom corner, which makes working on your game fast and collaborative. I mean, these are real time, you click of the button, check in changes, and your teammate's gonna see it at the snap of a finger. If I just added a building and they wanna take a look, I mean, seriously, it's as easy. It doesn't matter how many assets I'm putting in, like they'll get it so quickly. And so we've put a lot of work into URC, And we're constantly adding more features, things like snapshot history and conflict resolution, real-time notes for your team members. But if that doesn't convince you, you can, of course, use other source control systems and tie those in like Perforce. All right. Now I've got here a little more technical demo. I wanted to show off what it takes to just author some gameplay in a really quick amount of time. And so this is me going over our island settings right now. My goal is to build a capture the flag. And so I've got these spawn pads. One's for the blue team, one's for the red team. And now I'm looking for a device, the capture item spawner and the capture zone. These are going to let me put a flag in them and tie them to each other so that these are on the blue team. And I'll adjust some settings here, find the flag item just in the item list there. Now it's going to spawn the flag at game start. And I'm setting it so that this zone is now looking for the flag. And I'll adjust some settings very quickly here. And then I'm going to copy those over, just flip them over, turn them red, give them to the team 2 on the team index there. And just like that, I mean, all the settings carry over when I copy and paste them, and so there's not much I really have to worry about except for switching the team. And you'll see me bring in the HUD message device here, so I'm just gonna type in blue flag captured, and when the red team goes to capture the blue flag, I'm gonna scroll down, I'll change that blue, and I'll scroll down to our events and tie the device there. Look at me doing all this cosmetic work on it. And I'll tie the device here so that it speaks to the flag device. So when the player captures the flag, they're now getting this HUD device to tell them, oh, you captured the flag. It's very simple, it's very intuitive, and for someone who's not a coder, everything I make in UEFN tends to be around devices. And I haven't struggled with being able to see my vision through. But I do have Heather on my team who is a coder, and so whenever I need that extra juice, she's always willing to do it for me. Now, I'm bringing in a team settings device. This is going to allow me to adjust properties of everyone on this team. So I could change things like health, speed, but I can also set up the inventory system this way. So you'll see I wanted a sort of Western themed capture the flag. And so I found a shotgun and a revolver and some dynamite. And I'll copy this over, just like I did before, to the other team. All right. And then the next step of this, like I said, sometimes I like to juice my games with verse. And so what I'm doing here now is I'm setting up the opportunity to use verse to read whether the player's holding the flag and spawn an effect around them. So I'm using the visual power-up device just to get my color set up on this. But then I'm going to use verse to set up a system where we're constantly reading the player's inventory when they're picking up and dropping the flag so that we can make sure that our effect is attached to the player. So here I am making my verse device, which is where I'm going to hook up our code and our other devices so that they're able to communicate with each other. And then I'll open our verse device here. And build our code. And drag out our device. It takes a little to load, but once we have our device here, you'll see in the details panel there's nothing in it yet because I haven't actually brought over our code to set up the configurable options there. So what I'm going to need to do is open VS Code, and in VS Code, I'm not going to live write code. I didn't even write this code. I'm just going to copy and paste what Heather threw together for me. And so I'll take out this example stuff and get our new code in there. And what our new code is really going to do is just give us, like I mentioned, that option, but it's going to set up these configurable options in the details panel for me to have it speak and interact with our devices. So that's the code that Heather wrote for me. And let me save that. There we go. And once it's saved, I'll close. I'm going to build our code, and we should see it update in the details panel. There it is. So with the player visual effect, I'm going to attach it to our power-up device. And I still need to attach the flag. So I'm going to go there, add a capture flag, add our flag in, and save. And then I'm going to launch session here. Now, I may have sped that one up if you've used UEFN before. But here's the concept. So you grab the flag, we got that HUD message, and you'll see that our player is glowing. And when I put the flag in, I'm no longer glowing. When I pick it up, I'm glowing again. And I'm going to do it 3 times because I've set our win condition in the settings for 3 points, and boom, the game ends. So it's very quick. I mean, this is sped up, but it took about 30 minutes, maybe, of dev time to throw together this. And then I could spend, of course, hours building a beautiful environment, but the bones of the games are really easy to throw together. And you've just seen that. You've seen how easy it is to build that game loop from scratch, but let me break it down for you even more. You see, UEFN provides access to foundational gameplay systems like top-of-the-line locomotion, a massive selection of Fortnite's iconic weapons, easy-to-use camera systems like first-person or isometric setups, and tried-and-true multiplayer out of the box. Another invaluable add is the access to Fortnite's huge library of ready-to-go game assets, stationed directly in the content browser when you load up your project. And if that's not enough, you can use Fab, click the Fab button, purchase, drag, and drop custom assets directly into your viewport, or put them directly in your content browser, and have access to another massive library of assets made by brilliant artists. And then, of course, our online services are built in here. We handle the hosting and the infrastructure behind your game, meaning that you just get to launch and scale stress-free to every platform that Fortnite is on. Console, mobile, PC, it will just work. And because UEFN is so tied to Fortnite, it means you can build, launch, and play your game with multiple players, be it your team, your friends, play testers, with the click of a button. Now let's talk a bit about operating your game. After you've spent time developing your game, getting to market has never been easier. I want to walk through some of the steps of how you could get started signing up for the publishing program and actually publishing your game. So the first step to publishing is ensuring that you've signed up for our Island Creator and Engagement program. You can head over to create.fortnite.com to get started there. To be eligible, your Epic account must be at least 30 days old before applying. At least 7 of those days must have included time editing in Fortnite Creative or Unreal Engine or UEFN. If that's not the case, you can spend $73 in the item shop, and so we can verify that it's a real account, and then you can just get started. Now let's talk about publishing. You're all set up now, you've made your game, and you're approaching its release. In Creator Portal, which is our website we use for creators to run their whole library of games, we're going to ask you to fill out information about your game, such as the game title, the description, a thumbnail, a video. And here you'll also apply tags to help players identify your game, whether it be a roguelike or a capture the flag. And once that information's filled out, the last step on your end is completing an IARC survey to ensure that your game matches the available ratings in Fortnite. And well, once that's done, it goes through our content review service to make sure that it follows our Island Creator rules. And then after that, you're good to go. You publish, and there it is. It's on console, it's on PC. Now, once you've done this, of course, we don't recommend you just let it be out there. You should keep iterating. Let's talk about attracting players. Now, there are ways to go about marketing and getting players into your game, but at the core of this is all Discover, which is our Island browser directly in the Fortnite lobby. So I'm not sure how many of you have opened up Fortnite recently, But when you open up Fortnite, the very first thing you'll see is, of course, your player character, but then a whole library of these UEFN and R games, all mixed together, all in the same place for players. It's the main way that players find and play games in the ecosystem, but it's not the only way. So we also have, of course, search functionality. If they have the name or the island code of your island, they'll be able to go from maybe you're advertising on social media, they'll be able to open up Fortnite and look up your game and enter that way. And to get players searching for your game, I mean, we really recommend that you are going about this backed with a brilliant marketing strategy. Like anything, it's important to let an audience know that you exist and your game exists. And not all of that can just be done by launching directly into Fortnite. It should be backed by awareness campaigns. And then when it comes to monetization, our goal is to allow you as the developer to focus on making a fun, retentive, and engaging experience, while we pay accordingly to your impact in the ecosystem. And so engagement payout pays about proportionally distributes 40% of the net revenue from Fortnite's item shop and most real money purchases. And this pays out to creators of eligible islands and experiences. And after you started gaining some traction, you'll want to leverage all the available island analytics that we have in Creator Portal to help build a strong game that players keep coming back to. Data is pulled daily to give you a look at the number of players that are visiting and how long they're sticking around for and where they're coming from. We've just recently released this new analytics based on player geography, platforms, and sources so that you can better understand your audience and how to cater to their needs. Now, like Fortnite, and like I mentioned a little earlier, the success of your game usually depends on iteration. That means building and releasing your first game quickly, finding out what the audience enjoys through feedback and analytics, and pushing out updates that capitalize on that feedback. Pushing the boundaries over time with new additions to your game and building a community will always help players keep coming back. Perhaps no one has proven this pipeline better than the team at Iterating Games. Now, Iterating is a traditional game development studio. They're based in Colombia, but back in April 2024, they decided to take a chance and split off some of the team to release their first game in the Fortnite ecosystem, Havoc Hotel. And after some success, the team at Iterating took their learnings and they acted on them, and they released Havoc Hotel 2 just 3 months later. Now, Havoc Hotel 2 saw even more success. It developed a large, stable audience, and to this day still has that large, stable audience. It even reached over 20,000 CCU at one point. But they didn't stop there. Again, just 4 months later, Havoc Hotel 3 was released, the biggest and best of the series. Their graphics were updated, their systems were refined, and they had another hit on their hands. And if you load up Fortnite, there's a high chance you'll see all 3 of these games floating around at the same time because they've created such an iconic franchise in the ecosystem. Now, finally, Heather's going to walk us through the future of UEFN.
Of course, to talk about the future, we have to first look at the past. As we mentioned earlier, UEFN launched in 2023 at GDC. Since then, we've been hard at work shipping core features to unlock new genres and new ways to play. Early in 2023, we released custom NPCs, allowing you to bring in non-player characters to populate your game worlds. We also launched Text Chat, which is a highly in-demand social feature that lets players interact with each other all through text. The really cool thing about this is that Epic Moderation takes care of the moderation for you, so you don't have to worry. An exciting update came near the end of the year. We've mentioned it a few times. First-person camera launched into experimental. This allowed creators to create experiences that are in the first-person mode, such as first-person shooters, horror games, and more. Part of that infrastructure also helped us continue to update UE to make sure that the camera modes in UE also work great. So that's a lot, and there was a ton on the 2023 slide, or 2024 slide, that I didn't talk about. But I want to talk a little bit about what we're looking at for 2025. We know that there is a ton of features that you all still need to make the best game possible. And we're committed to continuing to release those core features. In just the last few months, the last few updates, we've released huge overhauls to our UI systems, letting you create UI with widgets instead of verse. We also know that if you want to create a competitive game, a core component of that is skills-based matchmaking, which we're excited to be working on and plan to release in Q3. Toward the end of the year, we're also super stoked to finally release custom game items and custom ranged weapons into experimental mode. This will let you create your own custom iconic icons instead of using the Fortnite ones. For those of you making the switch from UE, you might also be super stoked to see that gameplay attributes are planned for Q4. Of course, there's a ton on the roadmap, and we have even more details available at our Trello page, so please scan this QR code to keep up with the roadmap, see what's happening, see when we're releasing things, and look into more details. If there's something that you don't see on the roadmap that you need to complete your game, please also come and hang out in the Epic developer community. We have a forums page called Feedback and Topics, and if you put your feedback there, request your top features, I promise you that every single post is actually read by me and Josh, and we help advocate for it to our product teams to make sure that it can get on the roadmap so that you can make the games you want to. Also, another note on the roadmap, it shifts and changes. I'm sure you're all aware that as development pipelines go, sometimes something needs to get delayed or moved up. So this link will always have the most up-to-date version. While we're talking about the future, I know Josh briefly talked about it, but verse is my favorite thing, so I wanted to talk a little bit about why we believe verse is the language of game development in the future. UE6 is going to contain verse. It will sit side by side next to Blueprints and C++, but we're really excited to be bringing verse and scene graph, an interconnected way to look at all of the objects in a game world. If you start learning verse right now with UEFN, then you're setting yourself up for future success when UE6 launches. So now you all know, hopefully, why your next game will be made with UEFN. You can download UEFN from the Epic Games Store and try it out for free. We cannot wait to see what you create. So thank you so much, and we will take questions at the mic in the center of the room.